All right, so we got one of each cut here. We got the Alibaba red seeded watermelon there. Nice pretty color on that one. So last time we were out here in the Lazy Dog Farm Gardens, we ended up pulling up some of these T-posts that we had, or that we were using for our determinate tomatoes, but we still had quite the mess in this plot right here and had a lot of work to do to get it cleaned up and ready for planting fall pumpkins. And so this is basically the only gardening work I've done all week, the only thing I've really felt like doing. Brooklyn came out here one day, helped me with some cleanup there, getting some old plants out of here, and then I came out here an hour one day, did a little weeding, came out here about an hour yesterday, did a little more weeding, and we got it in pretty good shape, a lot better shape than it was in. And so as you can probably tell, I did end up ditching that row of basil that was on the end there. It was just kind of looking rough with all that rain. Mowed it down, and we'll just plant some more basil somewhere else. I'll start some more in the greenhouse pretty soon. So we're gonna leave that row of peppers there. I'm gonna plant a row of pumpkins on this side of the peppers, plant another row on that side of the peppers over there. I did come in here and pull up all of the drip lines on this side except one. Left that one row of drip tape there that's sitting under where our determinate tomatoes was. Not going to pull it up, just going to leave it right there in place. And then same thing over here. I pulled up a couple drip lines, but I left one drip line where we can plant our pumpkins. It's really all the room we have in this plot here. It's just for one row of pumpkins there, one row of pumpkins there, because they're going to spread and sprawl a lot. Alright, so I just went and grabbed our flat of pumpkin plants out of the greenhouse. We got 3 different varieties in this tray. A lot of polar bear, got some cargo, and then the warty goblin on the end. We're not going to plant all 3 varieties today, just going to plant one of these varieties. But these things grew out really fast in about 3.5 weeks. They're looking really good. If we take a look at that plug right there, we can see it is indeed ready to go in the ground. So we'll get some of these in the ground today, and I got to get the rest of them in the ground pretty soon. So for this plot that we've got cleaned up, we're going to do a row of warty goblin over there, and then another row of warty goblin over here. I didn't pull up that tape. I guess I could have pulled it up and reburied it, but I think it'd be fine just leaving it there with those determinate tomato stumps in the ground. Now, I turned on the water earlier, hoping maybe some water spots will pop up, but I don't know if they will or not in the time we have out here to do this. What I can do is I can tell where those determinate tomato stumps are, and I know those were planted on a 2-foot space, and that's what we want to do on these pumpkins. So as long as I just go between those tomato stumps, that should give me the spacing I need. And since we're not pulling up that tape and reburying it, we can't really amend the entire furrow like we normally do. So I'm going to do like we did with those watermelons a few weeks ago. I've got me a little bucket here of Nature Safe 10-2-8, and I'm just going to put a handful or so in the hole when I put a transplant in. Alright, so our plot is ready, our plants are ready, we've got our fertilizer. Let's get these puppies in the ground.
We were floating down the river in your red canoe. You were laughing at my stories, roll back from my youth.
Alright. That worked out just perfect. I had about 30 or so of those warty goblin transplants, and that's how many I needed to get this row and then that row over there planted, putting these plants 2 foot apart, and it should give us a decent amount of pumpkins here in this little plot. Alright, so 1 variety of pumpkins down, 2 more varieties to go. Hopefully I can get those planted in the next few days. But now let's have a little watermelon fun. So our spring / early summer watermelon patch is kind of nearing the end of its road. Starting to look a little rough out there, starting to look a little bare. Well, we've done pretty good in this little 30 by 35 plot. Now, considering how slow this plot was to get going, we had to replace a lot of transplants. They didn't really look strong and healthy in the beginning, but they took off later. Considering how slow it was to get started, we actually did pretty good here. I think by the time we harvest the rest of these melons out of here, we'll have gotten at least 50 fruits out of this 1,000 square foot plot. Now, I don't know what the average fruit per 1,000 square foot should be on watermelons, but you know, for my standards, 50 or so watermelons out of a little plot like this is pretty good. So before we kind of do a taste test with these 3 different varieties, we need to get in here and harvest the rest of these. You can see there we've got some Alibaba melons that we need to get out of here. Some of those are kind of funky shaped. They should still taste all right. Got 1 or 2, maybe 3 of the tender sweet orange watermelons like you see right there. Need to get those out of here, and do have a few more seedless watermelons. A few stragglers out here. There's some small ones over there. Pretty nice looking one right there. So let's harvest what we got left out here. I'll put them all in the buggy, then we'll cut 1 of each and kind of compare them.
You were lovely, yeah, you were fine. There was no one else I wanted to see. There was nothing else I wanted to do. There was nowhere else I wanted to be than floating down that stream with you.
All right, so that's the last harvest from this particular watermelon patch. And I didn't count them as I picked them, but I think we got somewhere between 15 and 20 watermelons there in the back of that buggy. And this is the 4th time I've filled up the buggy like this. So 4 buggy fulls plus a lot of onesies and twosies, just picking, 1 or 2 melons at the time. We probably got way more than 50 out of this plot here. That number may be closer to 80 melons or so, which is really, really good in my opinion. So we can see all 3 different varieties here. These light color ones, those are the Alibabas. Some of those are round. Some of them are really elongated like that one. Lots of different size variation with those. And we got the tender sweet orange, which are the dark green ones there. Some of those look normal. Some of them look kind of funky shaped. All of them seem to be a little bit different. And then we've got the orange crisp seedless watermelons here. Some of these are smaller, but they're all fairly uniform and round. A lot more consistency with the hybrid variety here than we get with some of those open pollinated watermelon varieties. So let me go get these in the shade. We'll put them underneath the carport there. Then I'll cut 1 of each and I'll tell you which ones I like the best. All right, so we got 1 of each cut here. We got the Alibaba red seeded watermelon there. Nice pretty color on that one. Then we got the tender sweet orange seeded watermelon here. Now you may be thinking, looking at that one, Trav, that one ain't ripe. And I'll agree that it doesn't look ripe, but they all look like this. Every single one I'm cut, no matter how long I leave it out there, they all kind of look like this. And then lastly, we have our orange crisp here. Now these are supposed to be seedless. Most of them don't have hardly any seeds, maybe 1 or 2. This one's got more than just a few. Not sure what happened there, but got a good little heart in it, and it's perfectly ripe and tastes pretty good. Alright, so now let's grade these a little bit. And we'll start out with my favorite here, which is the orange crisp seedless. Now this one is my favorite, not just because it's seedless, but because to me it has the best flavor and is the sweetest of the 3 varieties we grew. Still not sure why this one has so many seeds in it, but it tastes just like all the others we've cut. Just really, really sweet, really, really tasty. I'd highly recommend this variety if you're into growing seedless watermelons. Really good consistency from this variety. That's another thing I really like about it. We did get some, personal size melons, some a little bit bigger, but they're all fairly uniformly round. They seem to ripen really good. I wait till the tendril dries and put them underneath the carport for a few days, and they end up usually always being pretty perfect like this one. And then we've got our Alibaba here, which was highly recommended by several of our viewers. And this is a pretty good watermelon here. Got really good texture. It's nice and sweet. Nothing wrong with it. I'd recommend this one to anybody who wanted to grow seeded watermelon. A good variety. It's just not quite as good as that orange crisp is. Just not quite as sweet as that one is, but not one I would turn down at all. Now, one thing with this one is the size and the shape of the fruits is all over the board. Some of them are more round, some of them are elongated, and a lot of in between there. So not really a good watermelon if you're going to sell watermelons. Some of them are pretty ugly, and I don't know that people will be wanting to grab one of those and take it home, one of those funky shaped ones. But once you open them up, they look pretty good and they taste pretty good. And then at the bottom of the list for the 3 varieties we grew this year would be this tender sweet orange here. I really don't know why. All of them just don't seem to really have any flavor. Doesn't matter how long I leave them out there, how ripe I let them get. I've cut a bunch of them and they all seem to be kind of underwhelming. I don't know if it's something I did or if this is just a variety thing or what. Now, we use these as a pollinizer for the orange crisp, and they work really well for that. So the plants grew well. They put out plenty of male flowers to help, pollinate those seedless watermelons, and gave us a lot of seedless watermelons. So it's a good pollinizer. It's just not that great of a watermelon to grow to eat. So I probably won't grow this one again, even though it worked good as a pollinizer. I'm probably going to pick a pollinizer that hopefully tastes a little better than this one does. So now let's talk about a few things we learned from our watermelon plot this year. Something we did last year, we did it again this year, was succession planting the watermelon. So not planting all the rows in the plot at the same time. Plant one row, as early as we can in the spring, wait a few weeks, plant another row or two, wait a few more weeks or maybe even a month, plant another row or two. When we succession plant like that, it extends our harvest window. We don't have to harvest them all at one time. It works really, really well for us. So if you're planning a big plot for watermelons, maybe try staggering the plantings, and it will extend your harvest window a little bit. Now, the other thing I've learned is that I just like these hybrid watermelons a lot better than some of these old-timey heirloom or open pollinated varieties. I know that's not a popular opinion with everyone, but in my opinion, these newer hybrid varieties just perform a lot better and taste better. Now, I could be proven wrong with that. We got to see what happens with that Bradford watermelon that we have growing in our other plot for fall. If that one just knocks my socks off, I may change my mind a little bit. But right now, I'm sold on the hybrid watermelons, the performance of them, the plant vigor, the consistency and size, and the really good flavor, especially with these seedless ones. Can't go wrong with those in my opinion. Now, unless that Bradford watermelon just completely blows my mind and changes my mind, my current stance is that these hybrid improved varieties, although the seeds are a good bit more expensive, they're worth every penny because these things were bred to perform. Now, if you grew any watermelons this year, let me know in the comments below, especially if you did some trials comparing different varieties. Let me know what were the winners, what were the stinkers, and if you had some that were kind of in the middle, like the Alibaba was for us. And also let me know what you kind of think about my hybrid philosophy here. You agree with me that the hybrid seeds are worth the extra investment because you're going to get the nice performance and consistency from those varieties? Or are you one of those who just likes to grow open pollinated stuff, not going to mess with the hybrids at all, not going to spend the extra money on those expensive seeds? If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to check out our affiliate links below. A lot of great companies that we use in our gardens here at Lazy Dog Farm. Even got some coupon codes for some of those companies so you can take advantage of those discounts. Please do go check out our website, lazydogfarm.com, where we've got recipes, recommended products, hats, shirts, all kind of good stuff over there. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification button, like, and share, and we'll see you next time right here at Lazy Dog Farm.
Hold farewell by the beauty of your life.